In the summer of 1960, the train station wasn't just the start of your holiday, it was the holiday. Before you even reached the coast, your senses lit up. The scent of coal in the air, the buzz of excited voices, children tugging at sleeves, clutching newspapers, sweets, or sandy buckets from the year before. The station itself felt alive, brimming with the shared rhythm of anticipation. The chirp of the guard's whistle and the deep rumble of the engine didn't just mean departure. They hinted at something bigger, adventure. It wasn't just about arriving, it was the act of going. Let's step aboard and travel back to a time when the journey was the destination. And before we lose ourselves in the steam and stories of the past, if this kind of nostalgic travel touches something in you, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to step back in time with us. Also, we'd love to know, have you or someone you love traveled by steam train? Let us know in the comments below. Buying the ticket, a ritual of travel back then, your trip didn't begin on the platform. It started at the ticket office, timeless, solid, steeped in routine. The counter, worn smooth by decades of passage, gleamed dully under soft fluorescent light. Behind a small brass-rimmed pane, a clerk in a smart uniform greeted you with the quiet authority of a seasoned guide. No touchscreens, no QR codes, just wooden drawers brimming with pre-printed tickets, each stub a token of something promised. The clerk would press the ticket into a mechanical date stamper, sealing your passage with a heavy click. A sound that cut through the murmur of a waiting room and landed like a starting gun. Around you, strangers murmured about seaside weather or market crowds. Children fidgeted, watching the clock with wide eyes and restless knees. There was no scrambling. If a train was missed, another would arrive soon enough. There was time to enjoy a paper, unwrap a boiled sweet, or sip steaming tea from the refreshment counter. Even paying for a ticket had a quiet dignity. Coins clinking, change offered with a practiced hand, and then the final slip passed to you. A key to an unknown day filled with smoke, scenery, and memory. The departure hall, symphony of anticipation. The departure hall of 1960 didn't just echo with footsteps, it sang. Your ears caught snippets of conversations and the slight fuzz of announcements from a tannoy speaker, as train names like Brighton, Scarborough, and Blackpool cut through the hum and sent pulses of excitement down spines. Trolleys rattled, porters shouted. A child yelled out, pointing toward the steam drifting from the far end of the platform. The smell of the moment? A heady cocktail of coal, engine oil, cigarette smoke, and warm bread wafting from the station cafe. Travelers gathered near gated barriers, clutching leather-strapped suitcases, wearing an air of expectancy. There were goodbyes, too. Quick hugs, promises, and a fluttering handkerchief sent waving as if it carried every farewell in the world. For those waiting, the space was sacred. The departure hall wasn't just a room. It was a border between regular life and the one you were about to step into. A slower, brighter version built on moments drawn between stations. And once that gate opened, you weren't just boarding a train. You were passing into wonder, meeting the steam engine. Then you saw it, from behind the steam, a sleek black creature alive with motion and breath. The train towered at the platform like a dragon stilled at rest, metal sides glistening, pistons exhaling in rhythmic bursts. Its chimney poured white vapor into the sky, merging with gulls and whispers of wind. The smell hit next, coal, dense, slightly bitter, oddly comforting. A scent that stayed with you, long after the coats were hung up at the guest house. Steam rolled around your feet and luggage, curling like theater fog before a curtain lifted. Engineers leaned from the cab to chat with porters or smile at young hands waving madly from the platform. Inside, the firemen tapped rhythmically, feeding great scoops of coal into a fiery belly. Just before the whistle, silence would fall, as if the station itself paused with bated breath. Then, with a huff and groan, the iron wheels began to turn. Not fast, not yet, but steady, determined. And just like that, the world behind you faded. And the true holiday? It had begun. The moving cafe, buffet car experience. The buffet car was a miracle, part cafe, part curiosity, wedged between carriages, sliding 50 miles an hour through the countryside. Attendants in white jackets served tea into real china cups, ladled generous cuts of fruitcake, and past sandwiches wrapped in wax paper, slightly squashed, but utterly welcome. In the warm air mingled scents of steam, tea, and steel. Kids clutched change in small fists, standing on tiptoe to point at sausage rolls, crisps, and sweets. Everyone was here. Sun-hatted tourists, overalled workers, elderly couples poring over postcards. The hum of conversation mixed with knife taps, cup clinks, and polite chatter. Occasionally, a trolley squeaked down the tight corridor, bringing refreshments to those unwilling to sacrifice a window view. Returning to your seat with treats was an unspoken triumph. Families shared crisps, passed tea with care, and savored hot pies before the steam cooled them. Somehow, these small rituals made the ride luxurious, not in grandeur, but in simplicity. It was food that lingered in memory the way five-star meals never could. Through the countryside, as houses gave way to hedgerows, the landscape tilted open like a storybook, fields unspooled in green tapestries, stitched together by winding lanes and wildflowers swaying in the hedges. At intervals, you spotted church spires poking above clustered cottages. You slid the window open. The wind rushed in, smelling of grass, soot, and, if the coast was near, salt. People leaned into the breeze, eyes half closed in harmony with the clatter beneath them. The rhythm of rail on track was more than sound. It was a heartbeat. Every so often, the train eased into a village station. Neat platforms, fresh flower beds, and station masters proudly visible like sentinels in pressed uniforms. Seeing a painted sign, a name on a board, was a thrill, proof that the journey was unfolding as planned. But no one looked away for long. What rushed past the glass wasn't scenery, it was story. And every mile pulled you further from routine and closer to something rare. Drawing closer to the coast inside, the carriages, the signs of seaside dreams were impossible to miss. Wicker baskets nudged knees. Buckets jammed into luggage racks. Spades peeked from bags, their tips still dusty from last year's beach. Conversations flowed loudly. Couples discussed where to eat. Children argued over who'd seen the sea first. And families laughed about lost shoes or sunburnt noses the summer before. Every face glowed with shared suspense. Guests compared notes on the best guest houses. Someone whispered praise about a cliffside cafe. Friends leaned over one another, elbows on windowsills, vying for the first blue glint of ocean. Then, suddenly, a gasp. Someone spotted it. That sliver of water on the horizon, brightest treasure. Excitement flickered like static across the cabin. And just like that, a group of strangers became companions, uniting in a singular, joyful goal. We've almost arrived. Quick break, let's hear from you. Just like those passengers once did. You're now halfway through something unforgettable. If you're loving this journey so far, hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that travel through time. We'd love to hear, what do you think we've lost or gained when it comes to travel today? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Arriving at the Seaside station when the train pulled into the station, it didn't just stop. It revealed. You felt it first, even before you saw it. That subtle, salty scent threading through the air. The perfume of seaweed, soft tar, sun-warmed stone. Then came the cries of gulls overhead, haunting joyous echoes as doors flung open. Platform gardens burst with color. Suitcases rumbled across boards. Porters in tidy uniforms worked with ease, offloading the dreams of city dwellers one case at a time. Every structure beamed with welcome, from curved iron railings to pastel station walls. Families paused. Some consulted dog-eared maps. A few simply stood still, soaking in this new light, this new air. And just outside the gates, streets lined with guest houses in a prideful floral parade. The whiff of hot chips drifted across stone alleys toward arcades already humming with jingles and neon joy. Postcards gleamed in shop windows like promises. Candy sticks, straw hats, sunburn lotion, everything beckoned. The closer you stepped toward the sea, the louder it roared. And when it appeared, vast, brilliant, endless, it felt earned. A prize not just for having traveled, but for having noticed the journey. The return journey. By the time the return train pulled out, everything was a little quieter and heavier. Sand clung to socks. Towels, still damp from final dips, lay stuffed inside cases now bulging with tiny gifts and paper-wrapped memories. Skin was pink, noses peeling. Children lay slumped in laps. Toy prizes nestled between limbs, faces framed in sleep. The same fields passed outside, but now they whispered rather than shouted. Laughter turned to murmurs. Cups were sipped quietly, voices fading into rhythmic, comfortable hushes. The train's steady rattle marked the slow retreat into normal life. Still, no one was sad. Not quite. There was a warmth that outlived the wave goodbye. Something carried, like sea breeze on skin. Something quietly promised by every mile underfoot. The platform at Journey's End offered no fanfare, but in every tired face, there was contentment. You might walk back through your own door tomorrow, but part of you was still there, on the rails by the sea with coal smoke trailing behind. What would you bring back? So if you were to take that journey just once, what would you bring home? Not just a stick of rock or postcard, maybe the smell of coal on a coat, the echo of a whistle in a station hall, the softness of a warm breeze through an open carriage window. Travel by train in 1960 wasn't transportation. It was an experience bound in ritual, sound, and scent. It wasn't efficient, it wasn't fast, but it meant something. Something more than arrival. And though much of that world has vanished, paper tickets, buffet cars, flowered platforms, what brings it back is not time, but memory. A memory shared, because some journeys don't end at the platform. They live on, in us, still traveling, still arriving. Want more stories like this one? Subscribe to uncover the forgotten details of everyday life from times gone by, and leave a comment with the one part that stirred something in you.